This is Timothy Barr from MLW. Make sure you give a listen to one of the greatest podcasts in the world, True Heel Heat.
This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's up, True Heel Heat? True Heel Heat.
What's up? True Heel Heat.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch for our NJPW Strong Style Evolve 2024 review. And boy, oh boy, I don't think that we gave we gave credit to this show when we did our preview, but we sure as hell will give credit to it coming out of it. But the gang is back. Your never open weight 6-man tag team champions. I'm talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling is here live on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel to talk some Strong Style Evolve. First up, we got the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, Jay News.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am representing here, coming to you from my corner of the world, couple of blocks away from SP3 because, yeah, you know, we local. but, just wanted to say what's up. Absolutely, SP3 Cat. I couldn't agree with you more, brother. We undersold this show completely. And it's always good to be proven wrong in instances like this. So shouts to the New Japan faithful and the folks out in Long Beach for making it a good time. But without further ado, please.
Our third member, our best member, the most positive New Japan Pro Wrestling fan out there in the land. It is her life. It is Sonal's life. Sonal, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, we massively, because I remember I said I was like at a 4.5. But as Jamie said, like I'd rather them impress me more than me go into it with really high expectations and like it not deliver. Like I'm gonna say I need to go back and watch some of them because I was very tired when I watched it at 1 a.m. However, I was good enough that I realized, let's watch the main event in the morning. So that's fine.
Smart.
Is it like the best New Japan Strong show this year? Maybe not, but it's very damn close. I think it's just because this year has had so many good shows.
I think that this is easy number 2 for me though.
Yeah.
Like when I thought after the end of the show, like especially after the main event, I was just like, was this the best New Japan Strong show of the year? And I was like, no. I was like, even though it was in January, I still remember Battle in the Valley was better because it had two 5-star matches. Like,
I think this one is good, not just because the matches were good, but I also think they really helped to build up for 4th and 5th. So I think like that's a combination. Like that's what I thought. The January one for me is still probably the best Strong show of the year in terms of wrestling and stuff. But obviously this has got people even more hyped for January 4th and 5th, which is perfect because it is the last Strong show of the year. So you know what? Yeah. Well done, New Japan. We went in. I was excited as I said, but you know what? Yes, kudos, New Japan Strong. You put on a great show.
What I didn't get from World Tag League final when we were reviewing that show, as far as like feeling like it didn't do a good enough job of building up Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty, as well as like Power Struggle did, this like made up for it. This show was like the big push for the 4th and the 5th.
But I almost think that it was, could they really hype up much from World Tag League considering the whole Tag League issue? They've got no champions, Hiromu and Naito challenge. So I feel like, because we've still got the Road to Wrestle Kingdom coming, which are the main ones. And I think, yeah, generally they would be hyping stuff. But I think with everything that went down in World Tag League with the champions, again, like we still don't know like who Okan's partner is. And it's happening on Dynasty. So I guess there was a lot of uncertainty going into that final. So they were like, well, we can't hype anything if we're not 100% sure what we're hyping.
Yeah, I can understand that. And they did make their big, because I actually was guest star, spoiler alert, guest star on We Work Stiff. And me and Josh from We Work Stiff, we talked about the fact that like this year, usually Wrestle Kingdom has their international main event and domestic main event. And usually the domestic main event is the closer of the headliner of the show. This year, really the international main event is ZSJ versus Shooter. Mm-hmm. And the domestic main event is Naito versus Hiromu, which is the semi-main event.
But it's quite funny because Doki's been having a bit of a upset time. He's like, well, why shouldn't... Because technically, I think... I get Doki's thing because it's the junior champion, but I can't remember the last time the junior champion was the semi-main event, if I'm honest.
I do. I think it was Hiromu versus El Desperado, 2022.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, was it that close? It feels like it's been ages. Because I think the problem is, and like in any other thing, it would be the semi-main event. You've got Naito and Hiromu. Like, what can you do?
I don't even think if it didn't have Naito and Hiromu, I think that Suji and Finley would be the semi-main event. Yeah, like you're like, and even if that's not the semi-main event, I think Takeshita and Shingo should be the semi. Dude, Doki, calm down, Doki.
Let me push my Doki agenda, okay? I will continue to push this Doki agenda.
My man Doki need to relax out here.
Doki knows his worth. He unlike New Japan, who doesn't know the worth of the juniors, Doki knows it.
I need the funk flex. Relax. I need that drop for Doki. Like Doki, calm down, bro. You just got here. You just got here to
I
junior
mean, he
heavyweight
didn't. He got
championship.
hit years ago, but
No, I'm talking about to junior heavyweight championship
Oh,
status
okay.
in the at
I was gonna
Tokyo
say, I was
Dome.
like, he's been here for a while.
You just got here. You just got to this level. You've been on another level. You've been on a lower level for a couple of years, but you just got to this level. Calm down, relax. But yes, I do agree with a lot what you said though. Like I said, I think Battle in the Valley was #1 this year for New Japan Strong. Strong Style of All, a close #2. Mainly, I would say based on the last two matches, which pretty much my prediction from the preview did come true. I was like, this card is going to be adherent on the final 4 matches delivering. Not only did those final 4 matches deliver to me, but I think also matches like Hechizero versus Leo Rush over delivered.
The
I
Fatal
think
4-Way was great. I love
the
the
4-way
Fatal
was a lot of fun, and I would
that.
say that Strong Tag Team titles was much better than I thought it would be.
Albeit, I was shocked by that result.
Yeah, but
Massively,
what did I tell you guys? Shenanigans took place during that tag match. Shouts to Liverpool's #1.
Say the name. Say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
I'll say it when we get there.
I'm just sitting back like, say it. Got it.
Just saying it. Do the thing. You know, like
do the thing.
Do the roll.
Say the word. But yes, we're gonna talk about Strong Style Evolved last night. We appreciate y'all if you were joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here, because y'all, we are 100 subscribers away from 20K. 100 subscribers away. We got 2 weeks. We got time. But hey, if you haven't already, tell a friend to subscribe so we can hit our goal for 2024 of 20,000 subscribers. We got Peter Davies in the chat with us today. We got a bunch of y'all in the chat. Remember, you could sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, and we'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, we want to show your support to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, you could do that with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. Peter Davies says that main event was incredible. Then Mina and Mercedes go and break the internet. LOL. I belly laughed at that post match when her music hits and Mina just goes into full on I'm Britney Spears on a stage performing in 2000 mode. Oh my God, I marked out.
I honestly, I love Mina for that, because like, as a woman watching wrestling, obviously for years women were sexualized, but what I love about Mina is she takes her sexiness, she embraces it herself, and she is in control of it.
Yeah.
Which, as like a woman, I love that, because she's so proud and amazing and out about everything, and I think that's great.
Yeah, it's great to see, especially in 2024. We need more of that. We got Shotty in the chat. Good to see you, good brother. He says, True Heel, what up? Big ups to the CEO. She has been the best horsewoman this year, and it isn't even close. In-ring work has been A1 with multiple Match of the Year nominees. Like, I literally have to deal with this every Thursday with Jimmy Macaron, because Jimmy only watches AEW. So he only watches AEW Dynamite. So he's had to deal with television character Mercedes Mone more than he's had to deal with big match Mercedes Mone. And if you combine the work that she's done in the great matches with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander in AEW, and then all the work she's done in New Japan with the Momo Watanabe matchup, and then this match especially with Hazuki, yeah, she has a strong case to be Women's Wrestler of the Year. When you combine that with the accomplishments that she's had, TBS champion for 200 days, NJPW Strong Women's Champion, she's up there. She's had a great year in the ring for sure. We also got here in the chat, I Make Beats joining us, saying, what's good, THH fam? Peter Davies says, the best NJPW Strong show in a while. Honestly, so much fun. We got Call Me Mr. Bonda, who says, first week of 2025 for wrestling fans keeps on getting better and better. Shadi also adds, he says, show was really good. Hechicero and Leo was a banger also. So a lot of people positive on this show. So we got to go
they're channeling their inner Sonal's life with the positivity.
There's a lot of positivity. We love that. We love that. We love when the positivity is in the air. But let's start the show. Let's get into this show. Before we do that, as we always do with our pay-per-view reviews, start with you, J News. Give me one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on Strong Style Evolved.
Oh man, one word, a phrase. I'm gonna go with something that was echoed earlier, man. It over-delivered. I think that was more or less the key for yesterday's show. For a good portion of the show, was listening to this. I was not listening to the show; I was just watching it because I was actually live streaming a podcast with the lovely Dolores yesterday, live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I forgot that the show was happening altogether. But with all that being said, I was watching intently and trying to have an inner monologue of what was going on, commentary wise. And yeah, man, everything over delivered, man, for the most part. The only thing that I did miss was the Iron Survivor match. I started the show with Mina versus Johnny Robbie. So at the end of the day, everything was strong. I thought that even though from a visual perspective, the arena, you saw a lot of yellow seats in the arena.
Why are the lights on?
Right. And so hold on. New Japan does the opposite of what the major companies do. New Japan always keeps the lights on. They always keep the lights on, no matter if the seats are empty or if the seats are full. The lights are always on. Now, secondarily, I would like to say, production-wise, I think that New Japan needs to learn a lesson here. They need to pay attention to what the fans are talking about since last night. Keep the hot mic on the Velvet Voice all the time. Why? Because that crowd sounded much louder than the amount of people that were in that arena. So keep the mic on behind Walker, and we'll have a pretty good showing of just how lively the crowd was, even though they didn't have a high number of people in the arena. So that was even though I feel like it was a mistake, it was a good mistake nonetheless. Keeping that hot mic behind Walker and stuff like that. So
yeah, that was a good point. Sonal, what about you?
Momentum. Just because everything had a purpose, there was things to deal with, there was stuff going into January for every corner, and I feel like you can give us good matches time of year, like we mentioned with World Tag League. You need to give us something forward to, and everyone who has a match or was announced or something, they have some sort of momentum, or there is some momentum that we have that we're like, oh, we're looking forward to. Because if you think about it, something like the fatal four-way between the juniors, for a lot of people it seems like Junior Tag League was ages away, so they've brought it back. Do you know what I mean? In a simple way. But they were like, okay, here's a reminder, not only that they've got a match, but here's everybody in it. Similarly, with obviously, we had TMDK versus, I guess, Hontai, even though it's Team Filthy Work. And then we've got...
Dirty Shooters.
Wait, is that official or did you make that up?
I officially made it up.
Okay, Dirty Shooters. And then we obviously had LIJ facing the AEW too. And then obviously the main event, which then led to something. I felt like there was a purpose to everything that happened, and I really like that.
Yeah, this was not any filler. Everything had its purpose, its mission that it wanted to accomplish. So, I will say my one word would be instant classic. I'm sorry, I just when I'm thinking about this show years from now, I'm gonna think about that main event and like. It might like in time become a one-match show, but I did like a lot of the matches on the show, and I had multiple matches that I'm probably going to say I gave 4 stars to, but that one main event is what's going to be remembered from the show.
But that's better than a lot of shows, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
There are some shows where you don't remember it. Even having one, you know that's made an impact, because no offense for the last Strong show, it was great, there were some good matches, but there's not that one. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah,
won't go
it
back
wasn't.
next year and go, oh, do you remember the main event for that? But you will for this one. You go, shit, do you remember the main event? Similarly with, you know, the Stardom crossover. Do you remember that semi-main
Yeah,
event?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the first crossover show, it was the semi-main event and the main event with Kyrie and Mayu Iwatani. But let's talk about it. We got the pre-show kickoff matchup, strong survivor match. Zane J going one-on-one with the reigning strong survivor, Matt Vandergriff. Vandergriff, of course, using his size to put Jay in his control. He took a portion of this matchup for the long part. Zane made a comeback. He was coming at him strong. In the end, it was Zane's experience going to the New Japan Noge Dojo, learning how to properly put on the signature Boston Crab that finally claimed him the victory. And finally, after nearly 12 months reigning as the strong survivor, Vandergriff has gone down. Zane J is your new strong survivor champion. This told a pretty decent story. We got to, this was kind of the payoff of the long running story of Vandergriff's dominance against the NJPW Academy members. So this finally paid it off with Zane J, someone that he's beaten in the past, had the experience against him, finally came through with the experience that he got by going to Japan. So I like the storytelling there. The match itself, 2.5 stars. It was fine for the kickoff show. So no.
It was funny because we literally said that, didn't we? We were like, he's going to go the entire year and then he's just going to drop it. And he did. And it was really funny. Yeah, it was a match where it did, like I think we mentioned this. We just want to see now these guys move off the pre-show. Yeah. Especially, like you said, time in Japan. I think it's time that they can move up. But yeah, like, it did what it had to do. It was a nice, fun bit of like, yeah, you dominated the whole year, now you're not. But yeah, good way to start. And I think that's the kind of stuff that you need. Do you know what I mean? Just like something that has meaning to it.
Yeah, there's like even this was not considered filler because it paid off the long running story. I think if Vandergriff won, then you could have said it was filler, but
there was nothing amazing that you could have missed it and been like, oh well, it's the result we all expected, but it wasn't.
Exactly. J News, any thoughts on Vandergriff dropping the strong survivor, and what do you think is his future?
I'm going to take a page out of your illustrious book, SP3. I was right. So I'm going to end there. Zane J for the win. I don't necessarily know where Matt Vandergriff goes from here necessarily. That'll be interesting to see if he's going to be more involved in New Japan Strong. Is he going to have feature storylines on New Japan Strong going forward? Is he going to leave New Japan Strong? People are getting ID'd everywhere. I don't know what's going to happen with Matt Vandergriff, but Zane J is here to stay, and he is now the figurehead of the Iron or the Strong Survivor thing here. So we'll see as to who the next up and coming New Japan Academy talents are going to be as they go on and tangle with Zane J here in the near future.
First match on the main show was women's action involved. We had Mina Shirakawa going one-on-one with Johnny Robbie here. Johnny Robbie has come up in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Academy, but also was a standout on the independent scene, going against Mina Shirakawa here, who was full of confidence, full of what they call that live show charisma in this one. The California fans were very much behind her the entire way. Robbie survived a figure 4 leg lock by Mina attempting a glamorous driver. You had a couple of inside cradles by Johnny Robbie. Nice little kind of spunky kind of underdog babyface performance by her. In the end, though, it was a spinning back fist, a big discus forearm, and then followed up with the glamorous driver, finally hitting the move, getting the 1-2-3. Mina Shirakawa picking up a win here. I thought Robbie looked good. She played the plucky babyface role very well here. I think that she has a bright future coming up in the new year. But Mina Shirakawa is an absolute star, and I think that I know that she's probably still has time in Stardom that she's gonna have to take care of, but Tony Khan would have to be a fool to not offer her a contract because she just exudes star power in a major way, and if presented right in a U.S. company, she could be one of the biggest women's wrestlers in the world today. Sonal, what did you think about this opener here?
I loved it. I mean, we all knew the result going into it because it's like any young lion match. However, what I loved was, again, obviously Mina Shirakawa has thing, but she allowed her opponent to look good as well. Do you know what I mean? To showcase what she's learned at this academy. I also want to say I love this idea of the academy because obviously in the past it was just men who could really learn from the New Japan teachers with the LA Dojo and the Noge, but this has again opened up, similarly with the whole Strong brand itself, has opened up the idea that women can now train under people that they idolize. Do you know what I mean? And again, having, I guess, like a young lion experience, but in a different way. And again, like both women came out looking great, and obviously it led to what happened in the main event, and it was good to see Mina on the card. But I mean, obviously SP3 is doing that because he knew.
I was like, no one. Yeah, Jay News like, I'm gonna use your line. I was right. No one wanted to say SP3 was right. I only had to call it 3 different times, but I finally got it right. Mina wins.
yeah. I was gonna say, how many times did that come through? You were like, it's this time. Is this that? Finally, this is the time.
All you have to do, I'll let y'all know. Persistence. Just be persistent. If you really want something,
one day it'll come back.
One day.
The lucky third time.
Jay News, what did you think about Mina and Johnny Robbie here? By the way, I gave the match 2 3/4 stars. It was a little bit better than the kickoff match. Jay News?
No, it was a solid match all around. I had never seen. I don't recall ever seeing Johnny Robbie wrestle before. Mina Shirakawa is she is a star for real, right? Like you were saying, SP3. She is, to use a term, she is quite the enchantress in the ring. For all types, to be quite honest.
Can I just say, Janice, I love that word to describe it because that's like I never thought of it that way, but that is the perfect word to describe Mina.
Dude, she trapped up Mercedes just by telling Mercedes, you want Mina. And Mercedes out there blushing on the mic. And I was like, yeah, that's what that's about. Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, listen, she's terrific. And I feel like to SP3's point, like she has stardom dates that she probably has to finish up and things of that nature. If Tony Khan doesn't offer her the world, it's like that's just a misstep. That's dereliction of duty at the end of the day. So, though the match was solid. I want to see as to what the New Japan Academy is going to provide in the future. I haven't had, especially in the new year, in the first year of the New Japan Academy, I haven't had too much expectations for it. But now with the ascendance of Zane J, a solid showing by young Johnny Robbie, I want to see as to what else Mr. Rosser and the coaches over at the New Japan Academy has coming in the future. So definitely something to look forward to there. But yeah, man, with Mina Shirakawa probably gonna be a strong head figure for the ladies division on Strong. If they need Mercedes to drop off to the side, I think that's not a bad deal either. So, hey man, solid match, good representation for the ladies on the show altogether, and good and bright futures ahead for everybody. So, I'll say that.
Looking forward to it. We had next up the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships up for grabs. Say it, J News, say it.
We had my good friends, the grizzled young veterans,
defending the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships against Royce Isaac, Jarrell Nelson, the West Coast Wrecking Crew, and I was absolutely stunned when I heard this crowd start cheering for the West Coast Wrecking Crew. I was like, do they think they're another tag team? What is going on? Isaac immediately found himself in the corner of the heels. They took advantage of him coming off of his Bloodsport matchup against Josh Barnett at GCW. Nelson fared better. He was very fast in this matchup, showing off his agility, his athleticism. They steered the course, but West Coast Wrecking Crew found their momentum, started hitting some double team moves. GYV were more kind of grinding out their opponents, getting the heat, trying to build to the hot tag for the opposite side for the West Coast Wrecking Crew. They were eventually able to do it. Royce Isaacs coming in like a house of fire, showing off his power in this one. I love the timing and the pacing of GYV. They're just so good at that. But I really love how West Coast Wrecking Crew really embraced being the baby faces. In particular, Jarrell Nelson. I thought that this was like a standout performance for him, where he had that fighting spirit that you want from a fiery baby face. He was getting the crowd involved, getting them behind the West Coast Wrecking Crew. I thought the match was over after they were setting up for their finisher. You get Jarrell Nelson pushed off the top rope. James Drake and Zack Gibson are setting up for the grit your teeth. When Jarrell Nelson gets up, he pulls, I believe, Gibson out of the ring, and then he rolls up James Drake, a handful of tights. 1, 2, 3. West Coast Wrecking Crew finally are your new NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team champions, and what a match to do it in. I felt like this was probably the best match I've seen the West Coast Wrecking Crew in. It was very well paced, had an old school feel to it with the hometown baby faces versus the kind of visitor kind of heel champions here. I love how the commentary talked about how West Coast Grizzly Young veterans are the heels here because the locker room are against them by how they came in to NJPW Strong, running roughshod, winning the titles in their second match, while West Coast Wrecking Crew have been grinding out here, but they finally reached their destination, become the Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions. Post-match, you get Rocky Romero, the NJPW Strong president. He comes down to congratulate the West Coast Wrecking Crew, and then he says that he wants to challenge the pair at Battle in the Valley. It will be Roppongi Revice, Rocky Romero and Yo challenging the West Coast Wrecking Crew. They accept the challenge, but then Royce Isaac holds on to his hand after shaking it, delivers a German suplex, and the West Coast Wrecking Crew stand tall after what I thought was a very damn good matchup and a nice little post-match angle to set up our next title match for Battle in the Valley. All in all, good stuff. I give the match 3 3/4 stars. What did you think, Sonal?
That's as soon as you said it, that's the thing. Baby faces? Like, do you know what I mean? The whole like stick with them with like day work's been like they're the heels. But I mean, I'm not going to say that Grizzly Young veterans are heels because one happens to be a Scouser, because that's bringing personal, geographic feuds into this, and we don't do that here. Don't do that here. It's not Manchester versus Liverpool. We're on True Heel Heat. But yeah, it was a really good match. Again, I was surprised. I think maybe because I've literally just grown sick of watching them face the same team for like the last 4 New Japan Strong shows. So it was obviously a nice surprise, and Grizzly Young vets always do well. I was very surprised at the result just because obviously, did they have any defenses, Grizzly Young veterans?
Yeah, they did. On Ring of Honor television last week, they defended against MXM Collection.
Man, if we're going to call a spade, we all know ROH ain't canon, brother. We can't
what? No, don't do that. Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that, Skip. I watch The Honorable Ring every single week. I review it on Fightful's main channel with Kate. So The Honorable Ring does exist. It is canon, and it's included with your NJPW Strong World subscription. They have the match up there on the subscription.
That's fine and dandy, but shit ain't canon, brother. At the end,
it's canon.
Just because and 20 other people watch.
No, you don't do that.
You and 2 other people.
I gave you evidence. I gave you proof, and then you're just gonna say no. No.
Don't you understand? This is the big 2024 in the USA, where facts don't matter. At the end of the day, where facts don't matter. Come on, man. doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But to Sonal's point, it was surprising. I expected GYB to at least get a defense on a strong show.
A proper defense in Jay News's definition. I can't.
To get a defense on a strong show, but it didn't go down that way. For yet again, I'll say the same thing I said last week. I can give a crap about what the internet wrestling community has to say about the GYV. Those dudes are more than a solid tag team. They deserve more respect than what they get. Even
though one of them is Scouser.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a Newcastle fan, so I can understand your gripe. I get it. But for all intents and purposes, I would say that those dudes, I feel like they need more mainline spotlight. So hopefully they get more time on AEW TV. But terrific match between the two teams. At the end of the day, I think that to SP3's point, this is probably Jarrell Nelson's best showing I've ever seen. But his tag team partner was showing the ill effects of being in that Bloodsport match just the night before. So that was good in-ring storytelling as well. But anytime that any of these teams get in the ring with the grizzled young veterans, they better be prepared to grit their teeth.
That's amazing. That's made my day. That no offense, SP3. I love you, SP3, but that beats the Gator.
Yeah, it does. He's doing an actual accent. Like that's great.
Also, can I just point out for this one, I'm like low-key though upset because obviously this is their first defense will be January the 11th. But like me, I'm like OG Roppongi fan. Yep. I kind of want Roppongi Revice to win. I want consistency. I'm like, come on, at least give them a proper defense. But then you can't have Rocky come out and say me and Yo, and then me, I'm just like, yes, give me a Roppongi title run because I can't have it with Show and Yo.
So she's like, no, time it better where you could be the champions when they come back to the UK.
Exactly.
So one quick thing, I mentioned shenanigans would happen in this match. Obviously, the shenanigans being the tights being pulled there in order to get the win. Secondarily, Sonal, you can't be pulling referees. You can't be holding on to the tights. Heel work, even though
they tried to cheat first. They just cheating the cheat. They just counteracting the cheating.
Sure.
They're matching cheating with cheating. So technically not a heel.
You got it. You know what we always say on this channel, J News? Keep that same energy. And that's all West Coast Wrecking Crew did.
Absolutely. So one more thing I must say before we go on to the next match. You have always been a lifelong Roppongi fan. I would ask of you, outside of going to travel to different restaurants and getting the food, I don't know if you go out too much. I don't know if you party enough, but Roppongi is not too far from where you're going to be.
So I don't go out to party at all. I'm like such a homebody. However, I've got like an itinerary, and one of it is the Roppongi sign because obviously that's in like the music videos. So I was like, I don't want to go out and stuff, but I just want to go and take a picture with the Roppongi sign.
Absolutely, you got to. Next up, our third match on the main card was a fatal four-way previewing Wrestle Kingdom 19, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship matchup. You had Clark Connors representing the Bullet Club War Dogs, one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions of the Jet Setters, Kushida, Kosei Fujita of TMDK's Ichiban Sweet Boys with Robbie Eagles, and TJP of Catch 22 with Francisco Akira. I love the commentary did a great job of telling all the interconnected stories that are going on here with everything that went down in Super Junior Tag League and how we got to this scenario here. And I love how they really made a focus of the matchup in bigging up Kosei Fujita and his quest to win championship gold, win his first championship gold, since every other team in this matchup have held those IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. A lot of fast-paced action throughout. We had all-out frenzy, which each wrestler employing their own signature offense. You had Fujita, he wrenched back on Connors, pulling him as far as he could go with his submission, but he almost didn't like go all the way to get the submission, as Connors was holding on, not submitting, which allowed TJP to take advantage. He gets a crucifix pin on Kushida, 1, 2, 3, while looking for Fujita right in the eyes as he's getting the 1, 2, 3. So TJP gets the momentum heading into the Tokyo Dome on January 4th for Cash 2-2 with a victory here. Really fun matchup. It was fast-paced throughout. I enjoyed this one. I give it 3.5 stars. What did you think, Janus?
So with this 4-man, I was looking to see if anybody was going to gain any semblance of momentum going into Wrestle Kingdom. And when Mr. Perkins got the win, I was a little surprised. I
wasn't. I actually, you know why I think it made sense to me, because I predicted Clark Connors to get the win because I was like, continue.
I'm gonna say that.
You did. And when he did win, it made sense to me because I was like, everybody else has momentum. Cash 2-2 doesn't. Cash 2-2 lost in the Super Junior Tag League final. So he was the one who needed this win the most.
Yeah, that to your point, that makes the most sense because I picked Kushida at the end of the day. So that goes where it goes there. But it was definitely a match where I felt like it could have been one of those instances where not where the guys would mail it in, because they're the talents that were in the ring ever mail it in. It was just more or less like, oh, they'll have a decent match. They'll save the physicality for January 4th. Nah, man, they did the damn thing in there, man. Props to everybody involved. Fujita showing off and stuff like that. TJP still working every limb on the planet when it comes to these guys. So shout out to TJP there. Clark Connors still having the ability to even be the quote unquote smallest guy in the ring, but having that real fire and what's the term I'm looking for? Explosiveness that he does have in the ring. So shout out to Clark Connors for always being able to put on some impressive work in the ring. And I mentioned TJP, Kosei Fujita, and Clark Connors. The 4th man in the ring was the wily veteran in Mr. Kushida. And he let me down a little bit, man. But it's all right. It's all right. They got time to put it together. So
we're going into another year, Sonal, where we got to deal with Jay Dill's going to New Japan to push Kushida again. It's like, God damn.
He's had that time. He's had his time. He left. He came back. He's never going to be back where he is.
Going on 3 years now. Like, let it go, bro. Let it go.
Man, Sonal Doki still has to beat Kushida one-on-one while he is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion in order to get that reverence that you look for so much for Doki.
Well, while I would have thought that like a while ago, I just feel like you could give a thing for Kushida being the top if there was like nobody else. Like, Kushida, he was one of the veterans and they still need him. But the junior division has come so far. Kushida literally, sometimes I forget Kushida is part. I forgot he was tag team champion because he's not even in Japan most of the time.
Yeah.
So
he's
it's
in the
like
New Japan Academy.
Yeah. So it's like, well, I get it. You're like, oh, well, Kushida's still there. I'm like, well, yeah, if we were desperate, remember like the time when it was always going to be Hiromu or Despy because that's all we had. We're not at that point anymore, thankfully. Do you know what I mean? We've got the young stars who are ready. Doki proved it with his reign. You've got guys like Fujita, Akira, all people coming up. We've obviously got Jacob, who for the Empire, he's coming. So,
sure.
While I get it, and Kevin Knight, I still think Kevin Knight needs to be in Japan more. Because that man, if anyone deserves to massive push, it's Kevin Knight.
Agreed.
Friend of
But,
the Tim. Yeah.
But on that match, like, I knew it was going to be good. I if anyone knows me, they'll know that the junior division is like my home. It's the reason that the Best of Super Junior in 2018 was the first full tour I watched, and it was the reason that I was like hooked onto it. And like Jane, you said, they could have easily gone like a little bit. They could have sprinkled a bit to shows, but they went full throttle because that's what the junior division does. They know, and I think I've mentioned this a few times on like stuff. They're trying to show that they deserve the respect because, and everyone will be honest, New Japan doesn't give them the respect they deserve. They don't get the main events when they have the tournaments. Do you know what I mean? Like, if anyone would get a main event, it'd be Hiromu. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're out here proving, they're going out putting everything and going, you know what? Like, you should watch us. We're not just like, because obviously Hiromu is, yes, he has a semi-main event, but it's not as a junior. Like, do you know what I mean? It's against Naito. That's a whole storyline. So I love that they went, and I also love the ending. I love that, like, you had a submission predicament, and then it was just that small thing that TJP did to win. Again, not making anyone look bad, but just making it even more intense. Sadly, I think, though, and this is maybe something for later, if anyone's going to get pinned at Wrestle Kingdom, it's probably going to be Kushida. Sorry, Jamie.
I think you're right. I think you may be right. Give Fujita the biggest win possible. Have him pin Kushida. So J News can get what he wants and we get what we want. But next up, we had the fourth match on the main card here. Hechicero in action, going one-on-one with Lio Rush. And I thought that this would be good. We talked about this on our preview. But my Lord, I did not think these guys would have this great chemistry. You had Leo, who is fully in his cocky heel persona that he kind of is forging in AEW alongside Action Andretti. He met a very formidable, different type of performer as Leo stays in the air or uses his speed to gain control of matches. Hechicero is the ultimate grappler and submission worker. So he controlled things on the ground. He dodged Rush's swift strikes. Then we got him doing different counters and different twisting of the arms in certain places. His strategy of letting the speedy wrestler kind of tire himself out was paying dividends in the matchup as he would let Leo kind of run in circles and then catch him up and then twist him up whenever he got a hold of him. Rush, thinking outside the box, tried to change up the tempo a little bit, change the trajectory. He was able to get a nice little tope suicida on the outside, stunting Leo after a flashy attempt on the apron. Hechicero tied and wrangled and cranked his body on the ropes, not to force a submission, but to leverage that pain even more. He was just working over Leo to kind of set him up for the finish of this matchup, which came in an instant. Perhaps the thing that kind of saved Leo the most in this matchup was his repeated bursts of adrenaline as he would just hit moves and bounce off the ropes, hitting certain stuff. One such kind of stunned Hechicero as he hit like a bunch of high velocity flurry of strikes. He hit what is he called? The come up. He hit the come up on him for a near fall, but Hechicero just went off on him in the end. He hits one big move, then he bounces off the rope. He hits his big flying head scissor takedown, which literally looked like he broke Lio Rush's neck. The way that Leo came down and sold that was awesome. And this match was awesome. These two guys with two individual styles. Hechicero, like I said, the grappler, the master technician, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and Lio Rush, one of the fastest professional wrestlers in the world, and it just meshed so well here. And like Leo just has untapped speed and he just turns on the boosters and the velocity. He's faster than any other guy in the company, but Hechicero's arsenal of submissions and different counters and working the arm, working the leg, is just unlike anyone I've ever seen. I feel like this year with discovering Hechicero feels like the first time I saw Zack Sabre Jr., where I was like, yeah, I've seen technical wrestling. I just never seen it like this. And that's what I can describe Hechicero as. Sonal, what did you think about Hechicero and Lio Rush? I thought this was one of the best matches on the show outside of the main event. I gave this 4 stars.
That's like perfect to say, because when I go into wrestling like 205 Live in junior wrestling, but when I watch Zack, it's like my eyes got open again. And it's the same with Hechicero. What I like with this is, Leo is cocky, but I think he expected to have some support. But, and I always say this, a good wrestler knows if they're not getting the support, because Leo heard those Hechicero chants, and he quickly like realized, right, everything I've got to do now has got to be extra heel. Because there's no point in me pretending to be a bit. I can't remember. It was the old Khan match, wasn't it? Where like he didn't adapt to what the crowd was saying.
Yeah, Okan versus Naito.
Whereas like Leo here, as soon as Hechicero came out and was getting the chance, he knew that his role was now like, okay, he was going to be cocky, but now he's got to be a proper cocky heel. And the best thing about this is the difference in body build and style, but how they mesh together. Because obviously Leo is much smaller, Hechicero is more submission. But obviously Hechicero is still a luchador, so he was still extremely fast and athletic. And with that, it just perfectly molded together. This was it, 4th on the card? Didn't have to go that hard. That could have been in another show. That would have been like a special, like a semi-main event or main event. How far? But I think what was good is the place here is that the time wasn't too long or too short. I want to see. I've seen this now. I want to see another one.
Yeah, it went under 12 minutes, and it did not feel like that.
Again. I want to see a longer one.
Yeah. This was paced so fast, and like these guys worked so well together. You would think that they had a whole bunch of experience together. This is the first time matchup. That's crazy.
The chemistry was almost like you said that they wrestled their entire lives.
J News, what did you think about Leo Rush and Hechicero?
I thought that this match did something for me that I was looking to see out of Leo Rush, in the sense of every time you see Leo Rush on US TV, commentators always talk about Leo Rush's amateur background, but you never necessarily get to see it. And we got to see it in this match, which I thought was pretty cool and interesting from a visual perspective, because the exchange between the two, as the two of you were saying, speed versus lucha, the graps and the graft and everything else in between. Leo Rush didn't leave himself behind in this match, which I thought was pretty evident. Kudos to Leo Rush for doing the old school wrestling thing and standing on the corner turnbuckle and listening to the crowd before the match started to see where he needed to pace himself in this match. Because that, folks, you can't teach that at the end of the day. You either know it or you don't. So that is one of those things where, you know, it shows Leo Rush's maturity here, and he knew what role he had to play in this match. But yet again, like most of the people in the comments are saying, it was a banger of a match, good back and forth. Leo Rush trying something new, even with the submission specialist in there with him, but he got to do his foray of moves, the speeding low pay, the rush hours, the man of the hour, everything that he was in there doing. Because you know me, I am a born again Leo Rush fan at the end of the day. But Hechicero is he's a magician, man. He is the alchemist of professional wrestling, and he's in there. He ties people up in knots, and he puts them in these knots in a split second at the end of the day. And it's like, yo, you can't. A lot of the time, it's like, how can somebody compete with that, right? That's the way I say it to myself when I'm watching these matches. And I was like, he does it with such precision and speed at the same time. It's like, man, how can you get around this on a regular basis unless you beat him down enough to get him slowed down? But that wasn't Leo's angle in this particular match. So he was just trying to stay 1-to-1 with Hechicero, which obviously it proved the wrong strategy in this particular match. So heads up and big props to both of these guys. I would like to see this match again on a bigger stage. Not to take anything away from New Japan Strong, but like, you know, if we were to see this even in Arena Mexico, or like a Wrestle Dynasty type event, or whatever the case is, that would be, you know, it would be really, really cool.
Give me this on Collision.
Yeah, there you go.
I wouldn't mind.
Collision is at your Sarah show anyway, so you know. If people know, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? So, have this on a bigger stage so that you can really showcase what else these guys can do. And yeah, man, looking forward to more matches, either from Leo Rush or Hechicero. You know, we can watch Hechicero every Friday live at Arena Mexico if you want to watch them on CMLL. And Leo Rush doing bigger and better things at AEW now. So props to them both, and a banger of a match, I must say.
We got a super chat donation from J News #1 fan, Genesis J. He says, if not Mercedes Hazuki, this match was a slapper. There was a few slappers, in my opinion, on this show, but this was definitely one of them. Thank you so much for the super chat donation, Genesis J. We also got up next, the 5th match on the main card was tag team action. United Empire being represented by the newest member, Templario, and Jacob Austin Young, 2 of the newest members, facing Los Ingonables de Japón, Hiromu Takahashi, and Titan. Titan and Hiromu are the more experienced duo in this matchup, but I will say I thought that Templario and JAY actually worked pretty well with each other, and that became one of like the stories of the matchup, is them quickly being able to kind of adapt to each other's abilities and working well with one another. Hiromu and Titan tried to keep them on the back foot. You get Titan doing the really cool breakdancing move, but Templario rose up. He plunges his fellow luchador to the mat with a powerbomb and brainbuster combo. Hiromu could only helplessly grasp for his teammate as he was pinned 1, 2, 3. Templario picking up the win with the old Project Ciampa. I think Tommaso Ciampa used to call it that move, the powerbomb into the backbreaker finisher. So Templario getting a big win in his first appearance as an official member of United Empire. I think that we didn't even think about that fact that this is like his debut in United Empire. So I think more of us probably would have predicted Templario and them to win, but we saw Hiromu Takahashi on the other team. We're like, Hiromu ain't losing, so I understand. Speaking of Hiromu, post-match, he did his interview backstage, and he was approached by former Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Sumi Sakai, who came up to him, let him know that she is retiring, but she wants to have one last match, a retirement match against Hiromu. So it will be a 6-person tag team matchup coming up at Battle in the Valley. Hiromu will be on one side and Sumi will be on the other. So nice little paying tribute to Sumi as she closes off her career, while LIJ needs to get back on the winning side because they got some big matches coming up on January 4th and 5th. The match itself, it was fine. I thought it was really well worked with all 4 guys involved. And like I said, I was impressed by United Empire working so well together in this one and picking up the win. So I gave this one 3 stars. Sonal, what did you think?
Thank you for giving us another full junior match, New Japan. Appreciated. Yeah, I was as equally shocked of how well the Empire duo worked together, because obviously first time this was Templario's introduction. I'm not that aware of Templario. Like, I think I've heard of him and I've seen stuff, but he really showed off, because this again is similar to the other junior match. These were 4 completely different juniors with 4 completely different styles, and they worked together so well. They all meshed. And obviously we all know that this match originally was meant to have Hanare in it, which was all meant to be like, it all makes sense now, like World Tag League and stuff. But the fact that they got Templario, and I also think it was kind of needed, because not that like the Empire's a bit shit at the moment, but they've had a bit of bad luck. So I think they kind of needed the momentum more. And obviously by pinning Titan, it doesn't impact, because for as far as I know, Titan's not got anything at Wrestle Kingdom unless he's going to be in that newly announced Dynasty.
The Lucha Gauntlet, yeah.
Yeah, the Lucha Gauntlet. But then, so getting pinned is nothing, whereas Hiromu getting pinned doesn't work. You can't pin Templario because he's the brand new guy. You technically could have pinned Jacob, but again, then that's just a string of bad luck for the Empire. So this is good for Empire. This is good.
Yeah, I'm all for that as well. J News?
I say that this was a solid match. I always pop when I see somebody do any sort of break-dancing maneuverability in a ring. So when Templario did his version of the Spinneroonie, which was clean as hell, that my friends, I just popped and I was like, oh, we in for a show right now. And he was flying all over the place. And then his move combos, like, because I've seen him wrestle in CMLL before. His move combos are something to behold. Like, they're spectacular the majority of the time, and he puts so much emphasis on these moves. Everybody always talks about the his power bomb into the backbreaker thing or whatever the case is. That joint where he hit the brain buster along with. I was like, man, what is he coming up with now? Like, this is insane. And just his and he didn't show it off too much in this match, but in previous matches that I've watched him in CMLL, he flies like no one's business when it comes to outside of the ring. So I want folks to like pay attention when they see him in the future. Like, he'll do some sick spots outside of the ring as well. So Templario's a very well-versed fusion wrestler, if you know what I'm saying. So, and he's fast as hell at that. And I've always thought that for a guy his size and weight, that he moves just as fast as guys smaller than him, like a Leo Rush and things of that nature or whatever. So shouts to Templario for doing the damn thing, and for mixing and jiving so well with the JAY, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think it's going to be a good structural and ascending year for the JAY, being that he is now the junior and young lion in the United Empire. But he's got to show a different side to him and things of that nature. So very good team up, even though it was their first team up. So I hope to see more team ups with them down the road, and we'll see how it all goes. So yeah.
I think that would be good to have another junior team. And also, I think it would be good for Jacob to have someone like Templario, because we've seen how important a partner is. Because remember when Wato started teaming with Taguchi and how, and then with Desperado, about how much his character went on. So someone like Jacob, having all of those Empire, you've got so many different people. But if he is able to stick with this tag team with Templario, then I think it's going to be phenomenal. Have Jacob go to CMLL. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think this could be the perfect thing for the Empire and specifically Jacob.
Absolutely, because you know the title or the name of the team, the United Empire, is there for a reason. These guys all come from different spots on the planet, and you know, and then they come together as one. So I would like to see, like Sonal said, I would like to see Jacob Austin Young go to Mexico on excursion and see how that goes for him over there, and see how he can hang lucha wise and things of that nature. Templario will definitely help him along in that particular sense. I want to see the mix matching of the different juniors in the United Empire as well. Like, I want to see Templario go in there with TJP and Akira to see as to how all that dynamic looks. And whatnot. So yeah, man, definitely. It seems like New Japan is working on definitely re-diversifying their junior division, be it with tag teams and or individually. It hasn't with the lineup of talent that they have going into 2025. It's looking as strong as it was back in 2015, 2016, if they book it correctly. So that's
if we avoid injuries.
And there you go. Absolutely. So yeah, man, that this match really spotlighted for me that the as Sonal was saying earlier when we were talking about the other junior laden match, that the junior division needs to be spotlighted even more, and cats really do need more of that. Need more praise from the fans, and people need to want more of this junior style of wrestling to be prominent again, especially in New Japan. So shouts to everybody in this match, solid match nonetheless.
I also want to bring on that when Jane, you said that the people need to bring it. Stop asking, can Hiromu move up to the heavyweight? I hate that phrase. Like Ospreay used it when he did move up, in the sense that the heavyweight division is something you aim for, which is like the junior division, the stepping stone. It's why I love guys like Despi, Kushida, people who have made their whole Taguchi, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, men who have stayed in the junior division and treat it as their all. On this channel, moving up to the heavyweights banned. You don't move up. You can move to the heavyweight, but we don't move up.
The sixth match on the card was for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. You had Gabe Kidd defending against Ryohei Uyowa. This one, man, if there was ever a match that I could say was the essence of a never openweight championship matchup without being for the never openweight championship match in a New Japan ring, it was me this matchup, because I'm watching this and I'm like, man, I can't wait. Like in 2-3 years, they're gonna be doing the same thing, but it'll be in Japan, in Osaka, for the never openweight championship. In a year. It should be a year. It shouldn't even be that long. It shouldn't be 2 years. It should be in a year. These guys should be battling in Osaka Joe Hall, in Osaka Edion Arena, slapping the crap out of each other like they did in this matchup for the never openweight championship. Like by the end of this matchup, I have never seen Ryohei Uyowa's chest as bright red as it was from these vicious, echoing chops. And like that I feel like New Japan runs this building not because it has enough seats or, to show empty seats, but they run this building because I feel like the acoustics are very well in here, because you heard every hard forearm, every hard chop in this matchup. You heard it echo across the arena, and it got big ooh and cringe like reactions from the fans. It made you more into this matchup, and this was one of those vintage New Japan matchups that you just get that shot of adrenaline, like, yes, let's go. Kid flung himself with a lariat, taking out Uyowa, taking his head off. Uyowa countered with a suplex as his chest chopped liver was hitting. The lights were hitting it, so you could see how bright red it was. We get a schoolboy attempt by Uyowa, teetered him, gave him a close near fall, but Kid evaded another pin attempt. We had the battle of the Dr. Bombs for a little bit here. Then finally, it was Kid who hits the Dr. Bomb. He gets the 1-2, and Uyowa makes a desperation kick out. You get Uyowa, he hits the Dr. Bomb, and this was a close near fall, and this is when you knew they had the crowd. When they get that near fall on the Dr. Bomb, does Uyowa, and the crowd just starts saying, this is awesome, they're into this matchup. You knew they had him here. Before Uyowa could capitalize even more or hit the grip, you get Clark Connors comes down to the ring. He snuck his way to the ring, battering Uyowa with a weapon. Kosei Fujita made the save for Uyowa. He started brawling with Clark Connors to the back. Despite a passionate lariat by Uyowa, almost getting him another near fall, Oyowa's hopes were dashed when Kid busts out his drill-a-hole power driver. He then picks him up. He screams, I'm a madman, and then pins him with the madman bomb. 1, 2, 3. Gabe Kidd retains the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship in an absolute banger. The term banger gets used way too often. When I first heard of the banger term, it was for Tomohiro Ishii in a never openweight championship matchup. Because a banger term is not a term for a great match. A banger is a term for a match where they beat the shit out of each other and it's a great matchup. This was that. This was two guys beating the shit out of each other, or bruised at the end of it, and all the marks from all the chops on their body. And in the end, it was a great matchup. That's what Gabe Kidd delivered here in what's been a very impressive run as NJPW Strong Openweight Champion. I gave the match 4 stars. Post-match, you get Gabe Kidd grabbing the microphone, and he besmirks the name of Kenny Omega. He also says, fuck Daniel Bryan. Didn't even call him Bryan Danielson. People in the crowd were saying, his name is Bryan Danielson. And he says, fuck all the AEW marks out there. And then he also issues a challenge for Battle in the Valley for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship to Tomohiro Ishii. Let's fucking go! This was like an all Japan Pro Wrestling style, like King's Road style matchup, where you felt the fighting spirit, the babyface energy, the aura that was Ryohei Uyowa versus this unhinged, crazy heel in Gabe Kidd. These two men, I have no doubt in my mind after watching this matchup, these two guys are going to main event a bunch of shows for New Japan in the very near future. Like I said, 4 stars. I probably even go as far as 4.25 because I really enjoyed this one. Sonal, what did you think?
I loved it. Can I just say, like, we always say like really good wrestling, but it's the storytelling within it that also works. Because obviously we always say New Japan isn't about storytelling. That's entertainment, but it still is. It's still a wrestling company. And before I speak about how good the match in general, I loved the spot with Clark Connors. You know why I loved the spot with Clark Connors? Because you had Clark coming out to help Gabe. Then you had Fujita come out to help Oiwa. Yes, the fact. But then remember, Clark and Fujita have got their thing going on for Wrestle Kingdom. I'm like, it all works. And then you've got, because remember, Kid and Oiwa are like basically the same age. I think there's like a year difference. Like you said, in the future, they're going to be main eventing shows because, holy God, they put everything into this match. Obviously, Gabe before this was like, why are we not in the main event? Blah, blah, blah. And Gabe proved it. He, like, some heels, when they don't get what they want, they just like, they piss about. They do their pussyfoot around it. But Gabe was like, you know what? You didn't put me in the main event. Fuck you. I'm going to show you why we deserve to be in the main event. And I said this on Twitter when I was watching these news appearances he does, because he's always been doing them for a while. If there's a competition of who loves New Japan more, the only person that might beat me is Gabe Kidd. And I know he's a heel, but that man shows his love for the company more than any wrestler in New Japan. He hates on AEW, loves New Japan. Like, he's like, we're the best company in the world. We have the best wrestlers. We're going to show it. And I'm like, he's a heel, but he's an interesting heel because he knows that the crowd like him because he loves New Japan. He's not made hints of going anywhere. And this is similar with like Oiwa. Oiwa loves New Japan. He's gone to know, he's come back with a new person. And these are two guys who are, I think they're around like, I see they're like a similar build. They're both quite muscly, quite big guys. And these are two guys that I would just, they're champion material. And obviously there's a bit of an experience difference because obviously Gabe has been wrestling for a decade, over a decade. But they are the future. And it's like, when I watch matches like this, I'm like, New Japan is in the safest hands. Yes, we had a bit of an iffy moment where we were like, are they not pushing? What's going to happen? Whether New Japan want to book it or not, you're always going to have these guys putting on amazing matches. And that's why I'm like, yeah, New Japan is safe. And I'm so happy. I'm really excited to see that transition now.
Yeah, we are seeing like the passing of the torch from one generation to another within New Japan, especially the latter half of this year. J News, what did you think about Uyoa?
What are you gonna call him, Janae?
I was gonna mix your names. I was gonna say, but nah. J News, what did you think?
Oh man, shout out to the good brother Genesis J. Gabe is him. Proving Finley being the fifth most important member of the War Dogs. Absolutely. Gabe
I was going to read that
of the food chain because he should be at the end of the day. God,
thank you for the super chat donation, Genesis J.
Appreciate you, Genesis, man. Listen, man. Gabe, in my eyes, can do no wrong. Can do no wrong. Wild man antics, beating the crap out of somebody, sticking his head out of windows and driving buses and cars. Why not? Right? Why not? But what he's been able to prove, being the strong openweight champion since he's gotten this belt, he might carry the belt physically in such a very nonchalant way. But the matches that he has makes that championship more than what people think it is at the end of the day, right? And I feel like giving Gabe the opportunity to be able to run with some sort of a championship, be it whatever people want to see it as, I think is an indication of what he's able to do in the future, be it on mainline, New Japan stuff, and things of that nature. Ryohei Oiwa, I think we've spoken highly about him enough to understand that the grip is part of the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this match, this Hoss battle, this strong style, this Kings Road-ish that people get to see in 2024 is always dope to see because we don't have to get it every match, right? But when it comes to these guys in these matches, and when we see it and we experience it, we know it's something different. You feel it's something different, and that's the most important part about it. It's the feeling of it being something different. So props to these two young gentlemen on their continued rise through New Japan Pro Wrestling. I am sure we will see this match once again down the road, be it for a global championship or whatever, the never open weight championship and things of that nature. We'll see it down the road. Yet again, these guys have bright futures. To Sonal's part, I think that now that New Japan started to listen to their fan base and streamline the young guys into better positions and book them into better positions where the future does not look very bleak in my eyes in that estimation. So that's a cool thing to see. And we continue to see it from show to show, be it either in the US or in Japan. And props to Gabe Kidd for giving us something that was well needed on this show. And yeah, I agree with Gabe. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for big match Mercedes, this should have been the main event at the end of the day. So I'll give them that. Yeah, man, just his tirade after the match, though. You know what I'm saying? Him shitting on Kenny Omega, par for the course. You know what I'm saying? But Gabe, brother, I love you, man. Keep Bryan Danielson's name out of your mouth. You don't want none of that smoke, man.
Being very disrespectful, calling him by a slave name. Being very disrespectful.
I was like, don't do that, man. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Just be safe on that end, Gabe. Be safe on that. You know what I'm saying? Your good brother Jay News giving you some advice all the way from over here in the U.S., man. But if you curse me out on a freaking interview, brother, I'm gonna come looking for your ass too, man. Don't worry about it.
You're next. TMDK represented by Bad Dude Tito, Shane Hayes, and the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Zack Sabre Jr. going up against Shota Umino and Dirty Work Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler. Was our 7th match on the card. They kept calling it the semi-main event, which confused the hell out of me. But Tokyo Dome champion and challenger, they went at it in the ring. We fought to a standstill between those two. We had Lawler and Tito. They came in. They were battling out with one another. Haste and Rosser were showing off their grappling skills. A bunch of in and out offense in this one. This was a really fun 6-man tag. Did have a notable botch during the matchup as Tom Lawler, who was dressed as a reindeer, Tom Lawler, and then an elf, I guess, or Santa's helper. I don't know. He tried to come off the top rope and he slipped back. It could have went so dangerously bad. But luckily, he just fell back. He fell onto the apron. He eventually came off the top rope with a Superman punch. He only got a near fall. In the end, though, it was Tito of all people, getting him up, hitting a bad dude driver, a.k.a. the Drill Claw. 1, 2, 3. Bad Dude Tito pins Tom Lawler, gets the victory for TMDK here. Post-match, you had Zack Sabre Jr. getting in the face of Shooter, trying to goat him into striking him, but Shooter does not want to. He doesn't want him to play nice to ZSJ, but Umino didn't oblige this attempt, which seemed to have like a mixture of disdain given by Zack Sabre Jr. But TMDK picking up a victory here. I thought this was a good preview for Wrestle Kingdom. Love the interactions between Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino, because every time they're in the ring with each other over the last couple of shows that I've watched, it feels like they're getting even more chemistry with one another. And they've already had great matches with one another between last year and this year. So it gives me hope that we're going to have another great match, maybe even possibly an instant classic coming up on January 4th. But TMDK getting the victory here. We will see ZSJ and Shooter going at it again. Road to Tokyo Dome. It's going to be Shota Umino and Tomohiro Ishii versus Hartley Jackson and Zack Sabre Jr. of TMDK. So now, start with you. What did you think about this trios matchup? I thought it was a fine, a pretty rock solid matchup here. I give it 3.5 stars. What did you think?
I think the next match was like, because when I did my review, I sort of grouped this one and the next one. This one I don't think was impactful as the next one, just because, like you said, we've seen Shota and Zack go in the ring with each other plenty of times. But that's not to say it wasn't effective. Also, props, yeah. Tito, thanks for that pin, I was worried for a minute. I thought that Tom Lawler was going to get a win, and I was like, because one of you said that Shane Hayes was going to get pinned, and I was not a happy bunny with that prediction.
That was me. I said Bad Dude Tito was going to get pinned. He got the win.
But it was, for me, this match, it was going to be good anyway, wrestling-wise. It was like the ending bit. Every time these two see each other, there's an added sense of disdain. There's an added sense of excitement. And like, to all the haystayers, like, obviously me and you, SPC, we've always been on this bandwagon for Shota and this match. But it's these little things, do you know what I mean? Zack prodding the bear. Because Zack's very good at doing that. Like, we know that. So I like seeing that in all these matches. And also, I want to see more of Bad Dude Tito. Like, I just think yeah, James is clapping because like, you guys know, we are basically Tango. We paint the world Tango. We love TMDK, but we love all of them. And I just think that Tito is, because obviously you've got TMDK doing their tag things. That bring Tito for the Never division. Do you know what I mean? Imagine his bangers with Shingo, Ishii, like, give us more Tito. But yeah, this match was great. I've been excited for the main event for a while, but obviously this is getting me more excited, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the road to shows. Because remember, that's where, like, that's going to be the big momentum of what we're going to see going into January 4th.
Exactly. Genesis J says, when is Shooter going to pull out the plastic bag and
Not
crash
the plastic bag.
Call me Mr. Bonda says, most likely Wrestle Kingdom 19 when Zack taps him out. Love you, Umino. Absolutely. J News, what did you think about the trios match?
Man, that trios match, it was fun for the most part, man. I always like watching Shane Haste's antics during matches because he's a funny dude. You know, yeah, I know you guys have been riding the wave with Shooter Umino, man. I just, I haven't been on that wave in a while. It's just not clicking for me right now, but his exchanges with Zack Sabre Jr. Have been giving their match going into Wrestle Kingdom some substance. I'm only going to watch one Road 2 show. They have every Road 2 show going into Wrestle Kingdom has them tag team, has the main eventing in the tag team match. So I'm only going to want to watch one of the shows. And for all intents and purposes, I feel like it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it again. Put some respect on my brother, that bad dude Tito's name, man. At the end of the day, that brother, to what you guys were saying, yeah, man, seeing him in that Never division is a good look. He can hang in that division, man. I want to be able to for folks to be able to see Tito's talent. MLW sees Tito's talent. At the end of the day, he's a champion over there. Tito's also a good fighter. So at the end of the day, he can't beat people up for real. So that's the family business, if you didn't know. But it's always good to see Tito do good things, and he got the win here. So all props
over Jay News's favorite wrestler.
Yeah, well, it makes for all the fun, right? How do you come to a damn ring with red pants and white suspenders and think that you're
and a Christmas jumper?
I respect good Christmas attire. That was good Christmas attire.
I don't, because he greased himself up and he set himself up for a damn fall that could have been catastrophic at the end of the day. So you know what? Be safer, Tom Lawler. Be safer at the end of the day.
The thing is, the pants. As soon as you count the pants, none of you will relate to this. It's just me. So when I was like 13, I was a massive One Direction fan, and Louis Tomlinson from One Direction always wore red pants. So I bought a pair. It reminded me of that.
Interesting.
Wow.
There's a little TMI. There's a little TMI for you guys.
There you go, folks. You learned something new today.
It's okay. I feel like, I don't know, man. it's yet again my personal opinion. I'm not sure. I don't know Tom Lawler the person. I'm sure he's a good guy. I know
he might be the nicest guy in the world.
He's the nicest guy ever.
He's got a compendium of knowledge of pro wrestling in his head at the end of the day. But man, is he not likable the rest of the I'm just saying, man.
It might just be me and you, Jay News. It might just be the two of us.
Might be just y'all. But next up, you had the 8th match on the card. Los Ingobernables de Japón, represented by the never openweight champion Shingo Takagi and Yota Tsuji, versus Team AEW, the Elites, Jack Perry, and Don Callis Family's AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita. Takeshita just felt like an absolute star from the moment he comes out to the reaction that the fans give him. Jack Perry is hated here as well as hated in AEW. Los Ingobernables de Japón, probably the most popular faction, so the crowd was into Shingo and Tsuji. And I just really enjoyed the dynamic of this matchup where you had Takeshita, who was never scared to go face-to-face with your Tsuji, with your Shingo, and then you had Jack Perry, who he finally feels like he's in the appropriate role that he should have been from the start. I think the real issue of why the scapegoat character hasn't really connected on AEW television is because they tried to present him sometimes as a badass. That man is no badass. He is a chicken shit heel. And this match presented him in that role to perfection. He lets Takeshita kind of take control of things, and then he slaps him hard on the back, tagging himself in to kind of take control of things. He's putting down on Shingo and Tsuji after Takeshita takes control. But their alliance between Takeshita and Perry was all off because Takeshita got revenge for that tag in by Perry by slapping the shit out of the back of Jack Perry to tag himself in. Perry continued to be the subject of torture inside the ring. His partner Takeshita thrived, though, especially when we got Takeshita and Shingo in the ring. I can't tell you, I don't think there was a moment outside of Mercedes and Mina's post-match. I don't think there was any more 2 minutes that sold me more on the Tokyo Dome weekend, January 4th and 5th, than Shingo Takagi and Takeshita at the end of this matchup. Like, this was, it was palpable, like the energy that they brought to this matchup. They brought the fighting spirit. They brought the physical intensity and the speed, because these guys can work kind of slow. They can slow down the pace. But when they put on the boosters, these are two of the best guys in the world. It's these two and Will Ospreay. When they put the boosters on and go to the turbo mode, they ain't nobody much better. The only person probably who's on their level is Will Ospreay. That's it. But Perry would try to take advantage of certain spots in this matchup. You get Takeshita gets the big blue thunder bomb on Shingo late, only gets a near fall. Tsuji chases Perry around the ring, nearly finishing him off until the scapegoat is able to get push Tsuji into the referee. He lands a low blow, and then he hits the glass jaw knee strike. Jack Perry, who pretty much did little of nothing of note in this matchup, is the one who gets the win. And this is exactly what we said when we were talking about this match. We was like, if this match does have a finish, the person who needs this win the most is Jack Perry. This was Jack Perry getting the win, and he got heat for it, so that it accomplished its goal to perfection. Post-match, you get Perry and Takeshita jumping LIJ until Hiromu Takahashi comes out to make the save. But out of nowhere, we get a surprise appearance from Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks. They come out, super kick party to Hiromu Takahashi. They take out the rest of LIJ. They go over to scapegoat Jack Perry. They help him up. They do a little bit of talking, and it doesn't seem like Jack Perry is happy to see them. He's asking them, where the hell have they been? We then get the Young Bucks getting on the microphone. They said that they are here to reclaim their place as the top tag team in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're back in New Japan to reclaim the IWGP World Tag Team Championships before they retire. So they will see everyone at Wrestle Dynasty. So nice appearance from the Young Bucks promoting
the crowd went mild.
Man, the crowd reacted. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I went mild then.
You went mild. Yeah, I'm sick of people doing that. I heard the crowd go, oh, to their video package when they first said they were going to Wrestle Dynasty, but every person who watched the show was like, oh, the crowd didn't react at all. You did the Young Bucks and stars in Japan. I'm like, y'all are ridiculous.
I just said that I didn't go well because I'm just like, I'm not going back to that point where the Bucks think they can come and go to be there to win the titles and then just fuck off for like 4 months and then lose it on the first defense.
Yes, they can. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. Yes, they can. I like the fact we had the Bucks on this show. It was a nice surprise appearance, something else notable from the show, hyping up Wrestle Dynasty. But this match, I feel like a lot of people is sleeping on this match because of how good some of the other matches we discussed and the main event was. But I thought this was probably the second best match on the show as far as in-ring work because you had Takagi and Takeshita in the ring together. That shit was magic. I gave this match 4.25 stars. J News, what did you think about the tag team match?
I thought it was good, man. I thought that everybody involved did their part. Jack Perry did his part in this case, playing the lowly heel. But I think people need to understand that Jack Perry isn't the weasel heel in this. He is a martyr. Like he's
a weasel heel.
He's a martyr. He's going to die on his cross. No matter what people, that's why he nicknamed himself the scapegoat. He's a martyr, folks. People need to understand what he's trying to go for here at the end of the day. Now, with that being said, what the most interesting part about this whole entire thing to me was the post-match. You brought it up, SP3, where Jack Perry was not happy to see the Young Bucks. He was there like, where the fuck y'all been? Why y'all here after the match? Like, what's going on? He walked away, kept on looking back at them. Like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, with what's happening at AEW? And I think people need to give the Young Bucks a little bit more credit than they're due at times. Their form of long-term, not so much in it's more of a hateration that you have for them, Sonal, which is understandable at the end of the day. But the long-term storytelling that they produce, I think it goes over a lot of people's heads because a lot of people like that immediate gratification. And what the Young Bucks like to do, they draw shit out for long periods of time. The way I'm interpreting it right now, right, with the members of the elite that aren't going to be in AEW come the new year, former and current members constituted, right? The Young Bucks are going to be in Japan. Kenny is going to be in Japan. They're not in AEW. AEW is being taken over by these Death Rider guys or whatever the case is. Where are the EVPs in all what's going on in AEW? That's the AEW side of things. Now, the Young Bucks are going to come over to New Japan to try to regain these IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And the Great Okan has to appear with some sort of a tag team partner. Great Okan's tag team partner hasn't been announced yet, right? Okay. All right. So now just it's going to be Sonal.
No reason I'm going to Japan.
So I would say it has to be someone who makes storyline sense to be Okan's tag team partner, right? So I yet again, I don't have answers here, folks. I don't got the answers.
This guy.
I don't got the answers. I don't have the answers.
With the problem, but
I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. But I'll say that that someone who makes storyline sense is going to be involved in that match with the Bucks and the Great Okan there. And essentially, there's going to be a call for reinforcements in AEW, and the Bucks and Kenny and all those guys, they'll go back and try to save the day or whatever the case is. But what's going on in Japan is a part of that story because they're not in AEW per se, canon-wise. They'll be in Japan. So it's like they're running away from the issues that are currently happening at hand. And I have to if I'm taking a guess, Jack Perry's going to be mainland AEW. He's probably going to get the piss beat out of him at one point. And that's going to be the call for arms there, if they even care at that point, because it seems like he's the odd man out right now. But it's an interesting, again, my interpretation of whatever's going on with the story there. But the match itself, was really good. Always good to see Big Suge doing his damn thing. Shingo Takagi, one of the best professional wrestlers going today. Like SP3 said, what's going to happen, what's going to go down between him and Takeshita is going to be something for the ages. Is it going to be at Dynasty or Wrestle Kingdom? Wrestle Kingdom, right? It's going to be Wrestle. It's going to be something for the ages at Wrestle Kingdom. I believe. And who walks away with all the gold in that match is really the question. Because if I'm not mistaken, or if they haven't made it public or whatever, I think it's a title for title thing.
Most of them seem to be title for title across the including in Wrestle Dynasty as well.
So look for Big Take to, I never like to cast aspersions on the good brother Shingo, but look for Take Soup to gather all that gold and bring it back to AEW and do the damn thing and be that guy. So we'll see. But this was a good semi-main. I think for me, because I like the Lio Rush versus Cesaro match so much, I have this particular tag match as the third best match on card, then Leo and the ladies at the top of it all. So yeah, man, good stuff and good storytelling nonetheless. But with what was going on inside the ring and outside of the ring, so that's why the show I think was so strong to what everybody was saying before.
Sonal, any thoughts?
Yes, Peter Davis. I'm gonna super kick their heads off. Yeah. That's the only reason I'm going there. I love this match. I love that the narrative throughout it, Takeshita and Jack Perry not getting on. Because, it's a weird, they had to do it because that's by default. They were two AEW, two heels. It just makes sense. But it didn't within the space of the ring. And I think when LIJ saw this discontent, they thought, this is going to work to our advantage. And I think maybe they might have dropped the ball a bit, which allowed Perry. And I think I said that I thought it was going to be DQ or time limit, but SP3 perfectly predicted this. And obviously I wouldn't have known because I don't watch AEW. So this is similarly why I can't really talk about, the look between the Bucks and Jack Perry. Because when I watch AEW, it's if there's an ex New Japan style, I'll watch it. Otherwise, just fast forward. It's just honesty, guys. It's obviously New Japan. But yeah, I am so excited for Shingo versus Takeshi. And each match I see gets me more excited, and it's it's similar. Me and Janie, all of us are massive Shingo fans, but it just seems the idea that we could get Takeshita versus Shingo, and then on the next day Takeshita versus Ishii. Sorry, Shingo, just for able to get that, I kind of want you to lose.
It's okay. You win next time. You win
something else. It's fine, but for now, let us have Takeshita versus Ishii.
We need that. We need that in our lives. But that is on January 4th and 5th. Last night, the main event was for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship. Mercedes Mone defending against Hazuki. Now, this is one where I have to describe basically everything from the entrances on, because how this crowd changed throughout this matchup was one of the more fascinating in-match stories of this whole matchup here. Because when Hazuki came out, I thought that the crowd kind of gave her a respectful reaction. No boos, no complete silence, some clapping, some cheers, some people knew her, some people didn't. Mercedes Mone came out, they reacted to her like she was a star. A lot of people came here to see her. That's why she's in the main event here. Hazuki initially tried to come at Mercedes with her ability, moving fast in the ring. She just has great footwork as well. Mone would stop her, stunt her momentum at each turn every time she would find an opening. Hazuki showed off her determination that brought opening chances at victory. She would try a few roll-ups and get near falls. Eventually came to the outside. She would throw herself at Mercedes with some desperation topes that laid out not only Mercedes but the young boys at ringside. We get desperate Mone clutched on to the statement maker on Hazuki, who countered with one of her own. They were trading off cross faces on the mat. This match had like different levels. You had the physicality of when they would strike at one another, and you could see the welling up in both women's faces, especially Mercedes was really noticeable when she took the hair out of her face after Hazuki just slaps the shit out of her. You get Mone trying to slap and trading forearms with Hazuki, but Hazuki would just come at her every step of the way, harder and harder each time. Mercedes busts out the three amigos, paying tribute to her hero, Eddie Guerrero. She went to the top rope. She would hit the frog splash, but to no avail. She only got a 2 count. Hazuki held would counter Mercedes and lock on a statement maker of her own. Mercedes was so close to tapping out, but she was able to desperately get her foot on the bottom rope. Mone flung Hazuki with a sunset flip and then blasted her with the Meteora. She would hit a Hazuki would come back. She would hit a diving code breaker. Only got a near fall on that one. We get a series of consecutive backstabbers by Mercedes. She looks like she's on the verge of victory. She picks up Hazuki. She lifts her up into the moneymaker. She poses to the crowd, hits the moneymaker. You're thinking it's over. 1, 2, and Hazuki gets her foot on the rope. And will I tell you that Mercedes has gotten even better when it comes to one part of her game, her facial expressions. I mean, in the Chris Statlander matchup, she was killing it with the facial expressions. But that facial expression, when Hazuki got her foot on the rope for the moneymaker, and she just looks at the foot, looks at the referee, looks at the foot, then looks at the referee, I was dying. I was like, yo, Mercedes, your timing, your facial expressions is A tier. It's S tier. It's the top tier right there. Hazuki raised her leg to the bottom rope. That broke the pin. We get red-faced and distraught behind human capacity as Mercedes at this point. She lifts up Hazuki for another moneymaker, only to be countered into a roll-up for a near fall. We get Mercedes. Finally, she lifts up Hazuki. Hazuki comes close several different times. She got close with the senton. She got close with a brainbuster. But in the end, it was Mercedes with a second moneymaker. 1, 2, 3. Mercedes Mone retains the NJPW Strong Women's Championship in one of, if not the best women's match of 2024. This was 27 minutes of some of the most captivating edge of your seat action, especially the final 10 minutes. Just had you on the edge of your seat. And they did the one thing that I always ask of. You can have a perfect matchup, even having a predictable winner, if you make the fans at home and in the building believe the person that they thought had no chance of winning, make them believe that she's going to win. And that's what Hazuki did. This was a star-making performance for Hazuki, just an underdog babyface showing that fighting spirit, that determination, not like lowering herself in the against this insurmountable obstacle, because Mercedes Mone, even being this kind of small petite woman, she comes off like this monster heel, especially in this big match, title match, main event matches. She comes off as this overpowering individual, this overpowering heel that the babyface cannot overcome. But Hazuki made you connect. She gripped you in every step of the way, whether it be with the near falls, whether it be with her comebacks, her strikes, and it just made you believe that she could win this matchup. And that was the key to this one going over the top and being this is the greatest women's match ever done under the Lion Mark. Like, I know we've had some great matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling from the women, but this is the best one. This was the best one because it was a star-making performance for Hazuki and a star-affirming performance for Mercedes. And then post-match, it gets even better. Mercedes says she wants to finally perform in the Tokyo Dome, so she wants to perform January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty. This brings out Mina Shirakawa, who accepts the challenge, say that she will face Mercedes at Wrestle Dynasty, but Mercedes wants to up the ante, so she says, put your Rev Pro British Undisputed Women's Championship up for grabs, double title match, and it was made official earlier this morning. It will be Mina Shirakawa as the challenger, challenging Mercedes Mone for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty. But if Mina can retain against Danny Luna coming up on December 21st, this Saturday, Rev Pro Uprising, and retain the British Women's Championship, it will be title for title January 5th in the Tokyo Dome. I rarely do this, and I've rarely ever done this in January. My Lord, that was 5 stars. 5-star matchup. I can't go any. I literally was like trying to argue myself to give it 4 3/4. I can't. That was a perfect match.
At least you didn't do a Dave Meltzer and be like, it's 5.5.
Nah, just it's a perfect match. It was perfect in every way.
I want to say one thing, and Sonal, then you can take over. For folks who don't know who don't watch enough, Danny Luna's been doing the Lord's work as of late. She's on a roll, bro. I'm not sure if Mina comes out of this with the Women's Rev Pro Championship. She should, but I'm not sure because Danny's been on a roll lately. So I wanted to say that. Sonal, let's talk about this. Go ahead, give us your
Just
take.
a quick one. That match actually stemmed from Royal Quest because of when Danny Luna. I remember my friend was next to me and I was like, oh, so Mina, she's probably not going to get pinned. She's a champion. Like, that's how it works. And then when she got pinned, my friend went, and I was like, oh, sorry. My logic went out the window. Yeah, as someone who's watched the independent scene, Danny Luna is phenomenal. She's an amazing athlete. And yeah, in every way. Thanks for that. Jane is perfectly right. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves sometimes. This match, like I said, I'm going to watch it again because like I watched it this morning while I was working, so I could like come on here. SP3 said it perfectly because we all knew Mercedes was going to win, but Hazuki made everyone believe so many times that she was going to win. And that is the perfect example of what a match should be. That yes, it might have a predictable ending, but they make you doubt that predictability. You go numerous times. No. That's no. She's won, but then it doesn't. And these two women put everything. Like I don't watch Mercedes Mone in AEW. Like I said, I don't watch that. But out of all of the appearances I've seen her in, that since she's done like the New Japan stuff, this has been the best. And I think I said this when Hazuki won the trip, like the Fatal 4-Way. I don't know about her, but there's something about Hazuki that just entices you in. Whether it's her personality, whether it's her style in the ring. And they went. How long did you say the match was again?
How long was it? 27 minutes. 26:36.
It didn't feel too long and it didn't feel too short. I know that some people have grievances. I think this is like a word that they've got for Wrestle Kingdom that, oh, the women are not going to get. For me, I don't like that discourse. I think if they can do what they need to in the amount of time. So this 26 minutes was perfect. They could have done it in 20. But then if you went, you could have said, oh, I want it to be longer. But that little bit longer could have ruined it.
Yeah.
The match and the match time, the pace that they had allowed it to perfectly work. And again, while Mercedes won, Hazuki came out looking like we'll bring on this CEO $1 million. Do you know what I mean? She came out looking amazing. And the crowd were on their feet. And then obviously you had Mina come out at the end just to be like, it was like the cherry on top of a very nice cake for the end of Strong for 2024. You had women main eventing it. You've set up for an amazing match there. You made both women look amazing. You had do you know what I mean? It was just amazing. And for me, the best I've seen Mercedes since post WWE. Like I said, I've not watched many of her stuff, so you can easily say, oh, she's had this match and this match. This is just coming from my perspective. And now the fact, because we said this, didn't we? We said it would be crazy for Mone not to have a match at Wrestle Kingdom or Wrestle Dynasty. And now she has it. And I think this is going to be one to look out for.
Yeah, because with Mercedes, they're going to give her time. Like it's a risk if they're going to give the women time, but Mercedes, I think
they'll make sure she gets time.
They'll make time for Mercedes, but absolutely outstanding main event here. J News, what did you think?
I thought that when I first started watching the match, I said to myself, well, let's see what Mercedes has here, because I've seen plenty of matches with Hazuki in them, and the young lady's always impressed me. She has a very sweet face, but goddamn, she hits hard. So I gotta give her that. Dude, It's interesting because I've always had this love-hate relationship with Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks. Like there are some times where I can't stand watching her, right? But then there are some times with matches like last night where it's like, why can't I get this 100% of the time? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one of those things because it's like, yeah, the CEO moniker, gimmick, whatever you want to call it, yeah, that's your thing. But your in-ring storytelling is also your thing. So it's like, but to her credit, also, the time needs to be given, and it's also necessary for her to be able to tell these stories. So when Sonal asked you how long was this match, it was 26 minutes. The longest AEW women's match there's ever been was 19 minutes and 38 seconds long, and it was just
really?
pay-per-view.
It was Mercedes and Chris Statlander.
Yeah. 19 minutes. So at the end of the day,
any women's match.
Any women's match. Any women's match. Yes, absolutely. So that's the thing about it, right? Like the ladies have been fighting for the spotlight. They've been fighting for same pay, recognition, and all that time. It's the time on the shows and the time in the ring also matters. You can't give them 10-minute matches and expect them to get over. Yeah, no doubt. I wanted to say this one thing. This is the thing that was at the front of my brain the whole entire time you guys were talking. New Japan, aka Bushiroad, and AEW, Hazuki can't go nowhere. Nowhere. We already saw it with the lovely the lady. What the hell? Why am I forgetting her name right now?
Right?
No, Stephanie McKenna.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the day, Suri learned her lesson. By the way, she's been killing it over in Japan. And I read an article with her within recent days or whatever the case is. She gives a lot of props to her time in NXT, learning how to take care of her body better and things of that nature, and to take care of herself in general better. So that's something that she took away from her time in NXT. But she's been crazy over in Japan. New Japan, Bushiroad. You can't let Hazuki go anywhere, man. Don't let her get ID. Don't have her traveling to America too much. Like don't let it happen, man. Like she is definitely a female wrestler to look forward to in the future. If Mercedes Moné is going to be the one to be putting the ladies in the forefront and giving them these star-making matches, let's see more. Let's see who else she can tangle with, because they've been doing this with her since she's like the WWE, right? So it's like, for all intents and purposes, if you want to put more of a spotlight on the Stardom ladies, because obviously this is a New Japan branded show, then if you're going to put her in the ring with Mercedes, it's like, well, we know what Mayu Iwatani can do. Obviously, the GOAT, the God GOAT of all women's wrestlers. We know what she can do. But then there's other ladies who haven't gotten that spotlight, man. Like, me, I'm a big Starlight kid. I would love to see a one-on-one between her and Mercedes Moné where they get time at the end of the day. A lot of the ladies in Stardom can really do the damn thing. Hopefully what they're working towards is a match between Mercedes and Micah, and when they get that, we gonna see something very different in that match. So I think folks should really look forward to that match. But this particular match in particular, I can't rave about it enough, man. Like the belief of that belief, that sense of belief that these ladies were able to create for Hazuki for people to have that doubt in their brain was, oh, she can win this match. The foot on the rope thing is, for me, like one of the oldest wrestling tropes ever. But when it's done right,
it evokes so much out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's like,
and that's why I made note of Mercedes' reaction, because the reaction also makes that spot get a bigger reaction from the fans. Her just going like,
it mimicked what we all did. Do you know what I mean? She mimicked the reaction of crowds there and everyone watching.
Yeah, man, it's a credit to Mercedes' ability to tell those stories in the ring. Credit to, the ring awareness, as they always say, for Hazuki putting the foot on the ropes and stuff like that or whatever. It was wrestling at its best in its art form, right? Because sometimes we get the techers, sometimes we just get the all-out physical brawls like we got with Gabe and Oiwa and stuff like that. But the art form of the storytelling in the ring, these ladies put that on the board for people to see, and that was cool for me to experience, especially with these two young ladies in the ring. So shouts and props to Mercedes Mone, something I don't do very often at the end of the day. And Hazuki is a star in the making. I've all year.
She's had a great year. She's had a fantastic year from everything I've seen from her in Stardom. And like, really, I said it when we did the preview. Like, Hazuki was the one that I came out of the 3-way for the IWGP Women's Championship matchup and was like, oh, I want to see more of her. And she's blown me away in matches against Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani. But this was the best match of her career. Like, this was truly what they call a star-making performance. And for Mercedes, she's completely kind of wiped off the scent of the All shows. All Out and All In were not good for her. Britt Baker match and Shida match at All Out were not good for her. But between the Chris Statlander matchup at Full Gear and then this Instant Classic here, I won't remember that when I think of Mercedes 2024. I'm not going to think of the 2 bad matches she has. I'm going to think of this one. I'm going to think of the Statlander match. I'll think of the Willow match. I'll think of the Momo Watanabe matchup. She has 4 of the best women's matches that we saw in 2024.
Yeah, man, it's been cool to see. And like I said, I would rather this version of Mercedes Mone 100% of the time than a lot of what we get on American TV wrestling from Mercedes.
Said that too. As I said, I have to deal with someone who only sees TV Mercedes, doesn't see big match Mercedes not often enough.
It's interesting, right? Because the character is the same character. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's really how they're presenting her on TV. And it's all about, they say 90% of professional wrestling is presentation. Like, shift her presentation, for fucking God's sakes. At the end of the day, you have control over that, So it's like, yeah, she can still be the CEO, but make her be this version of the CEO where she's really leading the women across the world to be, spotlighted in a way where everyone's going to give them their credence and respect. That's the CEO we want to see, not the weasel we see on TV, not the person we don't want to hear on the mic. We don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? Like, give us this, and it'll work, I feel. And yet again, my personal opinion in that regard. And so, yeah, man. Props to Mercedes, props to Hazuki, props to New Japan for letting the ladies main event again here in the New Japan Strong show. So, it will be interesting to see Mercedes versus Mina at Wrestle Dynasty. Mina has had big matches over in Stardom, where she's showed out. So I don't think this will be any different. Hopefully, they put on a banger of a match at Wrestle Dynasty, and they continue to put that New Japan Strong and the Stardom women at the forefront of women's wrestling for years to come with their matches. So yeah, if you want to read the comment, SP3.
I was just highlighting the comment.
Oh, okay.
Because we need to wrap up because I got to go to work. But yes, we're going to give you our final thoughts for the show. Let us know in the live chat your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP. Out of 10, what did you give the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. If you want your comment read out, you can send a final call for super chat donations. But for me, Sonal NJ News for NJPW Strong Style Evolve 2024 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from all of us. Sonal, out of 10, what did you give the show?
I can't remember what I gave the Battle in the Valley show.
I think we gave that like a 9.5 out of 10.
So okay, so if I'm going like 9.5, so I'll say like I give it a solid 9, just because like aside from the wrestling itself, the build up to Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty has been really good in this show. There was, like we've said before, there was not a filler match. Everything had substance, and it's just like we said at the start, we didn't have high hopes. We weren't going into it, but and I think it's probably this high because it completely surpassed my expectations.
We do have a super chat donation. We have a few here from Genesis J. Thank you so much, Genesis J, for all the support. He says, my EVPs, I love the scapegoat. So he was happy to see the Young Bucks, unlike Sonal. We also got another super chat donation from our good brother, Genesis J. Thank you so much. He says, I never doubted Mone, Hazuki supremacy. Indeed. Clapping emojis. J News, out of 10. What did you give the show?
I gave it a solid 8.5, just because I was at a 4, right? We rolled the CeeLo between all of us. I had the 4, Sonal had the 5, you had the 6. We rolled that up, and now I go, I ended up with the 8.5. The ladies killed it. Everyone did good on the show. I don't think anybody, I didn't walk away with a feeling that anybody messed up their stock during the night. So, yeah, just wanted to say that.
I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought this was the second best NJPW Strong show of the year. Your MVP for the show, J News.
MVP, Jesus Christ. Jeez, man. I'm gonna go with Hazuki. It's I've been a fan all year. Shouts to Scott E. I've been a fan all year. But this made it for me. I was like, yeah. I gotta continue to watch Stardom. I gotta continue to be on that road and get on this boat to see if she becomes the star that I think that she can become in the wrestling scape in general. So Hazuki for the MVP for me.
So now, what about you?
I'm gonna say Hazuki as well, but I kind of also want to give like a props to Gabe Kidd, not just for the show, but just everything Gabe Kidd's done, like the news thing. I just feel like he's the biggest heel who loves New Japan the most. I've never seen a heel love New Japan more than he does. He shows it in a weird way, but he still does it. But yeah, Hazuki as well, just because obviously I think Mercedes, you know Mercedes, but Hazuki, even upon losing, still looked amazing. So Hazuki and Gabe, I want to.
I'm going to go MVP Hazuki for sure. Star-making performance on the show. Got to give it to Hazuki. LVP for the show, unfortunately, I have to give it to me and the Grizzled Young Veterans, because when I interviewed the Grizzled Young Veterans, I said, I mean, I'm a fan of y'all's. So when y'all retain the NJPW Strong Tag Team titles, so I jinxed them. So yes, I deserve
like
that
when
LVP.
You interview New Japan stars and they leave for another company. If you interview them, they lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
So yeah, I deserve that LVP. J Knows?
LVP comes from the start of the show, and he needed it to be. The LVP is Matt Vandegrift. He is no longer the strong survivor, so he gets the LVP for me.
So now,
Tom Lawler.
Also fair for the botch. And match of the night, easy Mercedes and Hazuki.
Yeah, absolutely.
But special shout out to Oiwa versus Gabe.
Yeah.
And Leo versus Ejiro too.
And Leo versus and the tag team matchup.
Yeah, and I like Gabe versus Takeshita and
Takeshita.
you know, and that one, and the fatal 4-way between the 4 juniors.
Exactly. We could go on. The show is stacked, but yes. We've gave it to the end of our NJPW Strong Style Evolve 2024 review. Our final pay-per-view review of 2024.
It's not really a pay-per-view, is it?
Well, yeah. Some people, you pay for your NJPW World. You pay for Triller. The only way you could see the show is if you paid. So it's a pay-per-view. But yes. Our final NJPW Strong pay-per-view review for the year. Want to thank Sonal and J News for our best year ever reviewing New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Sonal, thank you for joining the team this year, but I want to give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media when they shall see you again on your channel.
Yeah, so you can follow me at wrestling_chat on X. That's where you can see my new videos when I'm going to be on True Heel Heat. Make sure to subscribe to Sonal's Life. I bring this up every bloody appearance on every single one of my videos. I literally, just before the show started, I posted my own review of Strong Style. But like, if you didn't realize, guys, I'm going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm going to the press conference. I'm going to Wrestle Kingdom. I'm going to Wrestle Dynasty. So if you want vlogs, reviews, videos, shorts, updates, make sure to follow me on all social media.
You heard it here first. J News, let everybody know.
As usual, folks, you can always catch me here, right here on True Heel Heat on a weekly to bi-weekly basis, going over all that New Japan goodness as we like to do. Also catch me weekly every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, either on my YouTube channel or Dolores' YouTube channel with the Hit the Ropes podcast, as we do every week, reviewing the week that was in professional wrestling. You can catch me on the Twitter machine on John LYFNMG, your friendly neighborhood moviegoer, as the movie podcast returns in 2025. It's going to be a big year in 2025 for your good brother Jay News. So keep a lookout for that. And yeah, that's what I got.
And you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. Vote now on your 2024 True Hill Heat year-end awards. My two friends on the screen did not do their homework for the weekend. Still need that. But yes, check out all the great stuff on the channel right now, like our WWE Saturday Night's Main Event review that we did yesterday. Check out the True Hill Heat flagship podcast, True Hill Heat 307 from this past weekend. We do have a final super chat donation from Call Me Mr. Bonda, who says, "Fuck Christmas. I wish you a Merry Wrestle Kingdom and a Happy Wrestle Dynasty."
Don't fuck Christmas though, because I love Christmas too. So
I love Christmas too, but yes, Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty is why I'm excited for a new year. So thank you so much, Mr. Bonda, for the super chat donation. And ALW, Alan Weinstein, is once again a member of the channel. Thank you so much, ALW, for joining up with us again, my friend. But thank you so much to everyone who joined us live. Thank you if you're watching us on demand. Remember to let us know in the comments down below what you thought of NJPW's Strong Style Evolve 2024. But for J News, for Sonal, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW Strong Style Evolve 2024 review. We are signing off until next time.